Welcome to Philly Fortune Talks with your host, Jake Penny, where the city's brightest minds share the secrets behind their success. Are you ready to be inspired?
Welcome to another episode of Philly Fortune Talks. We're here to feature leaders and innovators who are shaping the future of business and finance. Today, we have the privilege of speaking with Charles Crawford, the esteemed chairman and CEO of Hyperion Bank. Did I say that right?
Hyperion. There you go, Jake.
Hyperion Bank. Charlie joined Hyperion Bank in August 2017 and since led a significant recapitalization, expanding the bank's presence to Atlanta and launching Hyperion mortgage and joint venture lending in multiple states. Under his visionary leadership, Hyperion Bank has seen remarkable revenue growth, earning a spot on Philadelphia's Business Journal Soaring 76 list of the region's fastest growing businesses for 4 consecutive years. In addition, his role at Hyperion Bank, Charlie serves on the board of the Community Bankers Association of Georgia and has been recognized by the Pennsylvania Association of Community Bankers as chair-elect and 2022 Banker of the Year. His contributions to the banking industry also have earned him a place in the Georgia Titan 100 Hall of Fame. With over 30 years of experience in community banking, Charlie has founded and successfully grown 3 banks in Atlanta. He holds degrees from University of Pennsylvania, the Wharton School of Business, and Georgia State University, where he also teaches as a part-time instructor. Charlie is an active member of numerous boards and nonprofit organizations, including Young Presidents Organization and the Chief Executive Organization. Join us as we delve into Charlie Crawford's journey, his innovating strategies in banking, and his commitment to community and education. Let's get started on Philly Fortunes Talk. Charlie, thank you for coming on board today. How are you?
I am well, Jake. Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Awesome. I hope I gave you the introduction that is well-deserved.
Yeah, you need to talk to my wife. That was very nice. Thank you.
That's funny. So, give me a brief background. What made you get started in the banking industry and what led to that?
So I did not know I wanted to be a banker growing up. As you alluded to, I did my undergraduate work at University of Pennsylvania and Wharton and finished in the mid-'80s when that was a pretty good economy and we had lots of nice companies coming to recruit on campus. And I kind of hit it off with some folks from a bank called Bankers Trust Company. It's now called Deutsche Bank today, up in New York, and it stuck. So that's where I started my career with big money center banks. And every chance, Jake, that I've had in my career, I've moved down the food chain to smaller and smaller banks and ultimately started new ones. I enjoy the small entrepreneurial environment.
That's great. So Hyperion has seen an impressive growth under your leadership. What strategies have been key to the success?
Well, I give all the credit to my team. Our president, Lou DeCesar, he got involved. The bank was started in 2006 and frankly got off to a rough start. Lou came in 2013 and put the bank on a level, good foundation. The issue at that point was the bank needed capital to grow. So when I got involved in 2017, we did a couple of capital raises, which really provided the fuel for the team to be able to go out in the community and actively do business, both on lending and deposits to entrepreneurs, privately held businesses, and individuals that valued a real high service model.
So where was Hyperion Bank when you first got started in 2017 with them?
So at that point, the bank was 85 million in assets. It had about 20 employees, and it was slightly profitable. The first 7 years before Lou, the president, got there, it lost money, so that couldn't have been a lot of fun. And he had to do a fair amount of restructuring, reduce the payroll, and was able to get the bank in the black. So it was poised for success, in my opinion. It just needed a strong strategy and capital to execute.
So speaking of like growth and whatnot, what qualities do you prioritize and why when building your team?
So most of the team members that are here at the bank have worked at a bigger bank at some point. So they have the skills and the talent but I look for that entrepreneurial spirit where, and a bank of our size is not right for everybody, but somebody who likes to be in the spotlight is a great team member for us, because everything our employees do matters, good or bad. On our side, we only have 47 employees, so everything they contribute, they can see tomorrow on our balance sheet, our income statement, or our new customer list. And so it's somebody who really is assertive and wants to make a difference. And one thing that helps us, Jake, is because we're a small privately owned business, we can relate to our customer base. That they're all private businesses. And so our team members understand the challenges and opportunities that a private business has, and we can grow with them.
Nice. Yeah, that's really good too, because a lot of these banks are not small business oriented by any means. So that definitely helps out with a lot of people, that you have banking with you.
Yeah, it's been interesting. When I started in the industry, we had 18,000 banks in this country. Today, we're down to less than 4,000. So we're very much a consolidating industry. The big boys get bigger and bigger, and it's harder and harder to start new banks with just the regulatory costs and compliance. So to me, there's a nice spot for a bank of our size, and there's plenty of opportunity for the really, I'll call them stadium banks, the big mega banks. I like the position we're in.
So are you considered a regional bank, would you say, or a credit union or something like that?
We're not a credit union.
Right. Sorry.
And yeah, that's okay. The bankers get a little tingle when you say credit union. Credit unions do a great job of taking care of what they call their members. The issue the banking industry has is they tend to compete with traditional banks, and the playing field's not terribly level in that they're tax exempt, so they don't pay any taxes, and they don't have to live up to some of the things we do in terms of Community Reinvestment Act. But people refer to us either as a community bank, or because we have an office in Philadelphia and one in Atlanta, some people call that regional. We're a bit unusual in that we just have two physical offices 660 miles apart, and that's it's intentional. With most of our customers, Jake, don't physically have to come to the bank on a regular basis. We give them, our tagline is "We bring community banking to you." So we give you the technology on your smartphone, your scanners, electronic, and we enjoy if a customer wants to come to the bank, but we don't feel like they should have to do that.
Now, since you said 600 miles, some plus miles away from each other, you service every state? Like, is every customer your customer? What does that look like?
No, we draw what we call primary service areas. So we're serving the city of Philadelphia and all the surrounding counties, and we do some SBA lending. So those will be sort of adjoining states. And then we do the same thing in the Georgia market, the Metro Atlanta, the surrounding areas. But I would not refer to us as a national bank. Our customers have some tie to either Philadelphia or Atlanta. We'll follow them and finance a home down the shore in Jersey, or an office building if they open a satellite office. But we really stay in those two regional areas.
Okay. Well, hey, I need a vacation home finance in Ocean City, Maryland. So might be your guy.
We've got a mortgage for you, Jake.
Awesome. So balancing your roles in banking, education, and community service must be demanding. So what are your daily routines to help you stay focused and effective?
Yeah, I love your question, because education, community, and banking for me all cross over. To me, that's what a good community banker should be doing. We're active in whether it's nonprofit service, volunteering, board service. The work that I do as a mentor or a part-time instructor, all of those things sort of blend, and one feeds off another. I mean, it's not unusual for us to garner a new customer or a banking opportunity because we're involved in the community, or because we're helping a younger person break into the industry. And so, yeah, and you got to have a passion for that. That's not for everybody, but I really enjoy all those roles.
So how does that look like from when you meet a customer for the first time, or someone starts banking with you?
Yeah, well, maybe I'll just give you an example.
Sure.
I'm sure this will be recorded and watched at a different day and a different time, but you and I are talking at noontime. And so I started my day. I'm actually in Atlanta this week. I was in Philadelphia last week, but I've started my day with a 7:30 breakfast meeting with two accountants. The accounting industry, just like the legal industry, insurance, those tend to be good sources of influence for our new customers. And we like to be able to refer our customers. At 9 o'clock, I met a young lady that I'm serving as a mentor. She's with the Federal Home Loan Bank, and there's a program called Path Builders that helps women move up in the corporate world. And so she and I just met last week, and for the next 12 months, we'll get together once a month and try to help each other. I've had several virtual Zoom meetings between that coffee and this interview with actual customers or prospects. So again, as a small bank, you've got to be a generalist and have your hands on lots of different things. But if you like variety, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, you got to definitely be more personable, I feel, than just like a spray and pray, like the what did you call them? The stadium banks.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. So you're a mentor, but has there been any mentors in your past or present that has influenced you, whether that's books or actual physical mentors that, influence your approach on leadership and banking?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been fortunate in my career that I've had a lot of people that have provided a great influence and then sort of a mentor role. I'm a believer that if you get out and meet enough people or read enough material or attend enough events and seminars, to me, you pick and choose the good nuggets that you think are relevant, and the other stuff you can leave aside. So I'm involved in a lot of peer group organizations too. I don't know if you're familiar with Vistage or YPO, which is Young Presidents Organization that you alluded to. Those are all places where it's kind of a peer-to-peer mentoring. So I get together with 18 other CEOs once a month. We have typically a speaker, a resource that talks to the group, but then the rest of the time is spent just helping each other with whatever the opportunity challenge is. And so all of those people have been good mentors to me.
Now, how does one get in one of those programs if they wanted to?
Yeah, they're different ones. YPO, for example, Young Presidents Organization, you need to qualify. So you need to be the president CEO of your organization by the time you're 45. That's the young part. And you need to have a minimum of 50 employees and a certain size revenue to do it. There's some other groups that maybe don't have as strict a criteria to join them. There are lots of business B&I groups, they call them,
Yeah.
can join to help each other. And then, one other mentor I'll mention, Jake, is a personal one is my father-in-law. So he and I are 20 years apart. He's had a very successful business career. I have a lot of opportunity to bounce ideas off of him, and he's been very helpful to me.
That's awesome. I could attest to that.
Yeah.
My father-in-law and my father are big mentors, both in their own ways, good, bad, and different, more so good than anything. But Charlie, your career in community banking spans over 3 decades. Can you share a moment early in your career that had a lasting impact on you?
Yes, probably. After I started my career in New York, I moved to Atlanta and worked for a regional bank for 10 years. And we were acquired, and I stayed for about a year after the acquisition. And as I reflect back, that last year wasn't a lot of fun. I felt like all we were doing was apologizing to the customers why everything had changed and sort of playing defense. And I received a phone call from a small bank that wanted to expand and asked if I'd be interested in really taking a blank piece of paper, coming up with a trade name, a location, hiring the staff to get an entrepreneurial opportunity in what I consider a big bureaucratic industry. I'm so glad I jumped at that, because that's the path I've gone down ever since. So, that was a real pivotal point in my career.
That's great. You were part of that and you got to experience the entrepreneurial spirit. Because I feel in corporate America, you're geared and it's like tunnel vision, right? They don't necessarily let you go out and be creative or have true entrepreneurial spirit. So I could be wrong. I've never been in corporate America, so I do not know that for sure, but that's just from the outsider looking in. That's just the way I feel. So that's awesome that, entrepreneurship is a thing,
Yeah,
and
no, I think you're right. And in our industry, it's one of our challenges is we look to hire new talent. We used to hire them from the big banks, mostly because they were very well trained. The issue today is, those big banks have gotten so specialized that what we need in a banker is a generalist that understands lots of different things that our customers might need and want. So as an industry, we need to do a better job of sort of training our own team, and not relying on a larger financial institution to do so.
yeah, and I feel like if you don't give them like a purpose, a mission, or a culture around it, and give them the ability to be creative and have that entrepreneurship, they're limiting, their growth within the organization.
Yeah, you're spot on. And this generation now, they're not interested if there isn't a purpose and a mission behind the work that they're doing. At least that's what I find from the young people.
Yeah, and I remember in school, collaboration was cheating. Uh, so I feel as people collaborate in corporate or in banks or whatever that is, and they get creative together, much more will come out of it for that organization.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it because the college class that I teach, they have a project that they need to do as a team. And I've had a couple students over my last few semesters that have said, Professor Crawford, could I just do this myself? I think it's easier. And I said, no, you need to work with your team. That's what the work world is like. It's an unusual job where you just work all by yourself. Normally, you need to collaborate with other people.
Yeah, definitely. So how do you approach financial planning to ensure the stability and growth for Hyperon Bank or just in general?
Yeah, so for the financial stability for our bank, we're a highly regulated industry. So we need to maintain certain capital levels and profit levels and compliance and all of those things are critical. We have lots of regulators. We have the Federal Reserve Bank of Philadelphia. We have the FDIC. We have the State Department of Banking out of Harrisburg in Pennsylvania. They help provide some guidance and make sure that we're doing the right things because to have a bank charter, it's difficult to get, and you never want to lose it. So you need to make sure that you're checking all those boxes of doing what's right, both for your shareholders and investor, but what's right for your customers, your employees, your regulators, community. I like to tell people we have lots of constituents, and I like that. And then we try to help our customers with their financial stability. So we're not an end all be all. There are lots of things the big banks do that we don't do. I mean, we don't manage money, we don't sell insurance, we don't do financial planning. Ours is primarily lending and depository to private businesses and individuals and entrepreneurs. And so if they've got some other needs outside of what we do, we make an introduction and suggest 2 or 3 firms that might be able to provide them some guidance.
That's awesome. So on that note, what are your thoughts on diversifying investments beyond traditional banking and traditional investing?
I'm a big believer in diversification. So there's a place for some of your investment allocation with a bank, but you probably should have some spread out in lots of other areas, whether that's in the stock market, the bond market, your real estate. I think it's a mistake to get too concentrated in any one sector.
That's great. So are you a firm believer in like alternative investments? Obviously, outside of the fly by night stuff.
Yeah, for the people that have the risk profile to take that, there's certain things in the alternative investments that are higher risk and they tend to generate a higher yield, but you need to be prepared for bigger losses if it doesn't work out. I mean, I've got a 31-year-old son. He's invested in some Bitcoin. I haven't.
Oh yeah.
We don't offer that at the bank, but then, for the right segment, people can try it. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, I invested in actually a Philadelphia company that was based out of Philly. It was a Bitcoin mining company.
Yeah.
And wound up being a Ponzi scheme. They shut down by the SEC, and I lost close to $200,000. But it was a learning experience. I honestly I didn't get mad because I took it as a hit on the chin, and realized that I need to stay in my lane. And this is the universe telling me a hard lesson of do what you say, keep investing in what you're good at, and don't deviate. Don't get the shiny object syndrome. But hey, maybe it was, I could have did some more digging as well, but definitely you need to have the ability, hey, if I invest this money, can I lose it at the same time? So that's my experience with crypto.
Yeah, well, you bring up some good points. Certainly, to me, you shouldn't invest in something if you don't understand it. And I'm also a big believer investing in people. So if
Yep.
you know somebody well and you've had a good experience, I know as I've raised capital for my various banks, I've got some of the same investors that have been in all the banks, one after another, because they've had a good experience and they know and they trust the integrity of who's managing their investment money.
Yeah, that's definitely have to need integrity and all that stuff when investing for sure.
Yeah.
So what exciting projects on the horizon for yourself, Hyperion Bank, and what are your long-term goals for the company?
Yeah, so it's nice. I was talking to someone this morning and they said, tell me about your growth plans. And I said, well, we're growing every day. We're doing it from 2 physical offices. And, those, as I mentioned, those offices really, to me, are a place to house the employees, not expect the customers to come. So we don't have any immediate plans to change our geographic footprint, but we want to keep growing. And, going back a couple of years when the pandemic hit, there were certain good things. There are a lot of bad things that came out, but some good things. And one was it pushed a lot of industries, including the banking industry and our bank specific, to accelerate some of our technology offerings. So, for example, a customer, if they wanted to open a new account 5 years ago, you know, they either physically needed to come to the bank or we needed to, go visit with them and do paperwork and pen and pencil. And, now all of that's online. So, I think the most important thing in our bank is our people and the way we deliver our service. But probably number 2 behind that is technology. So you're seeing all banks, including ours. Last year for the first time, we hired an IT director. We had always outsourced our technology functions, and we still have some outsourced partners, of course. But we felt that was so important. We really needed to have an internal leader. So, yeah, I'm very bullish and optimistic on the future, both personally and for the bank. As I mentioned, we're a consolidating industry, but that gives us an opportunity because it further differentiates a bank of our size versus other competitors out there.
Absolutely. It's the regional banks or community banks, I think, are much more needed than the bigger banks because I just feel that they give so much more value to their clients and potential clients. I've banked with bigger banks and I've never liked it. That's why I went to smaller banks. And they just have more to offer, honestly.
Well, my favorite question to ask a prospective customer is, tell me who your private banker is. And almost always the answer I get is the name of an institution. And I said, no. Who specifically, who is your private banker? And they said, well, I don't have a person. Well, I think you should. At a bank like Hyperion, you do. You have a relationship manager, you have a contact, you know several people that know you well. And you may not need us every day, but we laugh inside the bank. We like high maintenance customers that need and want something from us. If you're happy with an 800 number and internet click, you're probably not a good prospect for Hyperion.
Oh yeah, I can attest to that. I don't want to be on hold and not just on hold, but like, go through prompts and everything. I would like a direct line to
Yeah.
an individual that I know the face of and whatnot. But if you had one piece of advice for aspiring bankers or entrepreneurs looking to make a significant impact, what would it be?
I'd encourage them to look forward and think outside the box. I mean, we're a very old, stodgy industry in the banking industry, and so all these fintechs that have popped up, I think that's great. It's pushed the bankers to think. And the other part of the advice I'd give an aspiring banker is listen more than you talk. If you'll listen to your customers, they'll tell you what they want, whether that's a new product or a new service or how they want to be taken care of. Too often, I think people go out with a script and a product and a bag, and they hope it fits over the head of the prospect. We try to take it 180 degrees the other way and say, tell us what you are looking for, what you need, what do you like and don't like about your current banking relationship, and then let us come back and customize, potential solutions for you.
Yeah, I think like fintech, like you said, has forced the banking industry that are just traditional bankers to elevate themselves and grow beyond what they've done for the longest, for what, 50, 100 years or call it. So it's, pretty good that, I mean, I'm not a fintech person or like an online banker, like you have like what, Ally Bank and stuff like that are just totally 100% online. I'm not totally comfortable with that yet as a person, but I feel like it has definitely helped traditional banks, community banks, regional banks elevate their services to say, hey, they're out there right now doing this. We need to compete now and elevate our services as well.
Yeah, and I think there were a lot of bankers that were worried somehow fintechs were going to displace the banks. In reality, what's happened is you mentioned the word collaboration. The fintechs need the banks because we have access to the payment rails and the Federal Reserve and the payment system. So more often than not, banks are finding a way to partner with fintechs. And I heard someone the other day say, you know what? A traditional bank was the very first fintech. If you think, fintech means financial technology. Certainly, we do both at a bank like Hyperion.
Yeah, I mean, technically, yeah, you are right. I never thought about that, because when banking was originally started, it was the newest thing, so it was a fintech. Now it's just a little bit different with online AI, all this other stuff.
Yeah, and something we espouse a lot is our model is sort of high tech, high touch. I heard an ad the other day for I don't know what kind of business, but they said it's low touch, and they were sort of bragging that. And maybe some people like that. I mean, like an Airbnb. I stayed in a little boutique hotel the other day, and it said on their advertisement, we have invisible service, which means no service. I mean, you check in yourself. So, there's a place for everybody, but we still believe we want to blend the two together of a real personal relationship along with the technology.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. That's definitely needed for sure. So as we wrap up here, for our listeners that want to stay connected with you, learn more about Hyperion Bank or mentoring, what's the best place for them to go?
The best place is probably our website to start, which is Hyperion Bank, HyperionBank.com. Unlike the stadium banks, as we talked about, you'll actually find our people on our website and their email address and the contact. We don't hide that; we brag about it. So we should be easy to get in touch with, and we'd be delighted to help anybody who thinks they could benefit from our services.
Awesome, Charlie. It was a pleasure having you on Philly Fortunes Talks today.
Thank you, Jacob. I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in to Philly Fortune Talks with Jake Penny. Inspired to share your success story? Visit phillyfortunetalks.com/guest and let's inspire together.